on the NewsChannel 5 network. This is OpenLine.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for OpenLine. Hope your day is off to a great start as we kind of wind down tonight. A great topic for you. We're talking about affordable housing in our area. Who do we have a lot to talk about over the next hour? And I got the band here to do it with me. We have Marshall Crawford Jr., President and CEO of the Housing Fund. Good evening.
And good evening to you as well.
Thank you for being here. This is quite the topic. It is a buzz topic in our city right now. Affordable housing, plain and simple, is hard to come by in this area. And we're not just talking Davidson County. Really, it is starting to spread out where people are having trouble making rent or even buying a home, the American dream.
That's right.
So first of all, let's just start with the basics. What is the Housing Fund?
Well, thank you. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you as well. The Housing Fund is a private nonprofit organization that is a community development financial institution, which is designated by the Department of the Treasury. And so we have an opportunity to provide resources and creative leadership to individuals and communities to create and maintain affordable and healthy places for low and moderate income individuals to live. We've been quietly servicing Nashville for since 1996, and so we've helped over 3,300 families get into homes. We've provided over $20 million in down payment assistance, and we've also provided more than $40 million to for-profit and nonprofit organizations to be able to create and preserve affordable housing. So
those are some impressive numbers.
They are, and you know what, and it's great, and we have a wonderful board and staff that is committed to it, and there's a number of people throughout Nashville that have provided assistance to the Housing Fund to ensure that we're serving families and communities.
And this used to be called the Nashville Housing Fund, right?
That is correct.
This is a statewide organization though now.
It is now. It was created out of what was known as the Nashville Agenda several years ago. Before my time, you had individuals that came together and said, hey, let's take a look at housing. And so they created an idea, and the Housing Fund was created out of that idea. And now here we are 20 years later, still existing and still trying to make a difference.
I know when you mentioned those numbers of the amount of money that you all have helped generate, the number of homes and families you have helped get into homes, it perks some ears up out there.
Absolutely.
So if you have questions about how the Housing Fund could help you possibly, tonight is the night to call. The number's right there on the bottom of the screen. This guy can answer your question. 615-737-PLUS is the number to call. Again, 615-737-PLUS. We will get those calls lined up, and as always, as I promised, we will get to as many calls as we can tonight. You just got to call in, be brave enough to ask that question. In the meantime, I'm going to ask the questions. We talked about what the Housing Fund is. Let's talk about the issue of affordable housing.
Absolutely.
We all know a lot of people want to be in this area right now, so it is an issue of supply and demand.
That's right.
But when we talk about not having affordable housing, what other issues does that lead to?
Yeah, well, there's a number of issues, and what the Housing Fund is trying to do with so many others out there is change the conversation. You know, the narrative around affordable housing has been impacted, and so that narrative is changing whether or not we like it or not. But what we have to do is we have to help as many people or as many Nashvillians as possible attain home ownership. The rule of thumb around affordable is when an individual makes 30% or less of their income towards housing costs. And
that's
so,
what they should be spending?
Well, that's what someone is affordable for. If it's 30% or less of their income is going towards housing, then we consider somebody is able to attain home ownership and be able to purchase it. But the term affordable housing, when you look at individuals who are in the housing industry, that term mostly is associated with somebody who's got public assistance and being able to, so they associate that with affordable housing. But what a lot of people don't know is that the vast majority of affordable housing is owned by private individuals who don't have subsidy going in there but want to provide affordable housing. And so they make up the bulk of what affordable housing looks like, but this growing demand and the new investment is really making affordable housing much more difficult. And so we're trying to change that conversation around it. And there are a lot of individuals that are rallying behind this. There's a strong growth in population of advocates out there trying to ensure that we can provide affordable housing to many Nashvillians. And there's a lot of things that other individuals can do. They can support the nonprofit organizations out there that are working with individuals and trying to help them. They can also get involved. They can donate their money. They can donate their time. Being able to support these organizations, and that right there will allow us to continue to change that narrative and that conversation and making housing affordable in the Nashville area.
Yeah. Okay. I promised we'd always get to the lines first, so let's go to Wanda. Hi, Wanda.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. What's your question or comment tonight?
My comment is about the apartment complexes in the Antioch area.
Okay.
Yes.
You live in them. I moved in here for $665 a month. Now it has jumped almost to $1,000 every year. They're going back $100 on us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people living on subsidized income, disability. Pretty soon I ain't gonna have nowhere to live.
Yeah, and that's the problem the very problem we're talking about tonight.
Absolutely.
What do you say to folks who call you guys and say, I'm being pushed out?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Like we come from South Nashville down by the ghost, and out here now like we're being pushed out of here.
Yeah.
I've seen so many people moving in and out. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if Marshall has any ideas on how to deal with this.
Absolutely. You know, there are a number of organizations, nonprofit organizations out there that are really trying to provide some assistance to individuals. MDHA is doing a great job in working with organizations and individuals, trying to help people be able to sustain that affordability. It's the market, the supply and demand. As I had mentioned, you know, private investors purchasing these units, and previously they have allowed affordability for individuals to move in these, but now they want to take advantage of the increase in appreciation and being able to raise rents according to the current market.
They're business owners.
And that's exactly what they're doing. But individuals have to just reach out to some of the nonprofit organizations. They can provide them with the assistance and the awareness of how to go about sustaining. Reach out to MDHA, which provides some support and being able to help these individuals sustain and maintain their affordability.
You guys have really done something innovative with the Community Land Trust. It's an initiative that's still getting going, still laying the groundwork. Can you tell me how that works and how that will benefit folks like Wanda, hopefully, in the future?
Absolutely. So the mayor's office put out an RFP early last year, and we responded to that RFP.
Tell folks what an RFP is.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a request for proposals.
Yes.
And so we responded to that request and said that we'd be more than happy to serve as stewardship over donated properties or land that would essentially be provided to the housing fund, and what we would do is provide the stewardship for that. And what that means is essentially is that those lands and properties will essentially provide affordability, because when you take land out of the equation, then developers are able to develop at an affordable cost, individuals are able to preserve rents at affordable cost, and then we're able to protect individuals and investors from coming in and buying up that land and outpricing individuals in those communities. The key word here is community, and the simple fact is that what we're trying to do is preserve that community, and that community is not going to be for everybody who wants to live in there, because there is, like I said, we're trying to preserve permanent affordability, and if somebody wants to take advantage of, you know, the increase in appreciation or the market, a community land trust preserves that affordability. And so those are the conversations that we're trying to change. We got to provide some education around that, ensuring that individuals truly understand that. And it's not just with the mayor's office, it's also working with the nonprofit organizations, working with institutions such as colleges and universities, working with churches, any of those institutions can be able to work with the housing fund around the community land trust, and we will serve in that stewardship role in ensuring that those individuals who live there are essentially able to maintain, and in addition to that, preserve affordable housing.
So I want you to walk me through this. Give me a mock real life scenario, if there's such a thing, about how this would work. If somebody has a plot of land in a hot area, let's say off Charlotte or West End or somewhere around there, or in Antioch. We know Antioch's growing like crazy, and they say, housing fund. I want to make sure affordable housing goes here.
Absolutely.
A, why would they just not sell it, to a developer, because they're going to make a lot of money.
Absolutely.
So start from the beginning. How does this work?
Absolutely. So there's three tiers to it. One is the land, the donation of the land. If someone donates that land, then they're going to get a charitable a write-off with taxes, so they're going to be able to get that. And they just want to say, hey, this is land, I want to ensure that it stays affordable.
It's important
so
to them.
I'm going to donate this to the housing fund. So the housing fund will become the owners of that particular land. Then what we will do is work with that community or that owner and identify developers, whether it's nonprofit developers or for-profit developers, to provide a proposal on how they can help us develop that particular land. And then after that land is developed, because we're taking the land out of the equation, it provides an opportunity for developers to develop this at a more affordable rates. And then after we develop that land, individuals are living in that community, the housing fund will serve as the stewards, making sure that as individuals move in, they're moving in at the right price, they're moving in because they have the right income, and then also when they decide to sell, then it's sold at the right rate, and the resale value and the appreciation does not go where it outprices an individual.
And if it's a rental type, let's say this is an apartment complex, do rents get locked in like we hear about in New York City for some buildings? Absolutely.
So what we do is go through a model, a process of determining what those rates are and how do we ensure. So HUD puts out a certain level of rates that certain individuals can actually pay if they're going into a rental unit. So we'll abide by some of those rules to ensuring that those rates stay affordable for those individuals.
Gotcha, gotcha.
The one other point I'd just like to make for this is what is, I think, more critical is that it's an advisory group is created, led by our board of directors. That advisory group will be made up of those individuals that are in those communities, want to live in that community, so that they have a say in how it's developed and what goes there and how they sustain it as well.
That makes sense.
And I think that's really critical, especially for Nashvillians, to have a voice in what goes into a community land trust and how to best preserve that.
Yeah, without a doubt. Okay, on that note, we're going to take a quick break. If you have questions about affordable housing, how you can attain home ownership in this wonderful area we all call home, then give us a call, 615-737-PLUS. We are coming back right after this break.